Hi Scorpios, and welcome to your November 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your month ahead of November. Welcome to my channel, Scorpios. I hope you're doing really well. This is one of my favorite times of the year to be filming this kind of content. The veil gets very thin, the vision becomes very clear, and we have a lot to talk about for you this month. First of all, welcome to your season. It is Scorpio season, and the Scorpio season of 2022 is one of the more potent Scorpio seasons that I have seen in a long time. So we've been having a more subdued Scorpio energy for the last few years, ever since Jupiter went through your sign in 2018. That was one of the last strong, potent Scorpio years, in my opinion, and it kind of overdid the Scorpio energy. So we had like 2019, 20, and 21 as kind of more subdued scorpionic energies, and this is one of the first Scorpio seasons that I'm really feeling to probably be making up for that, as we do have two eclipses, okay, October 25th and November 8th, both of which I've made videos about, as well as a November comprehensive astrology video. I'll link all of those below for you all if you would like some other context. But yeah, let's talk just about your sign, and I've been looking forward to this as a Scorpio myself. Hit the thumbs up for Scorpios doing readings together in November. Let's have a good time with it. Anyway, Scorpios, okay, we got a lot to talk about. First of all, you need to not be freaking yourself out so much. I feel like Scorpios have been putting themselves through way too much pressure, way too much mental, arduous headache, because you've had the Saturn-Uranus square, especially if that's been hitting you personally in your own chart by orb in transit. That has been too strenuous, I feel, for the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is not a sign that's meant to really slog through things and have a very menial, kind of arduous, repetitive feeling about their life. By the time we hit the 8th house collectively in astrology, we have actually started to transcend. Actually, when we came out of the 6th house, so when we go into 7th and 8th house, we start to transcend this feeling of like daily grind, or this feeling of arduous, painstaking, cyclical, never-ending work. So I'm not just talking about like the work you do for a living. I'm also talking about like things in your own life that have just become too arduous, like mindsets, philosophies, even places and people in your life, okay, that have become like a strenuous thing to upkeep, or have become also like very clear as unsustainable, or even just like okay, the word mediocre is coming up here as well. So, and I've been feeling this for like the last few months. This can be like bosses, this can be employees, this can be friendships, any type of relationship you can imagine, where the bar has like fallen and certain expectations have become really unenforceable. So this is like all fine and dandy when you're just talking like, friendships, or things that are not that consequential. But then I do feel that in the month of November for you, it starts to like go to a level where it's like, oh my gosh, some of these bad results, or some of these things which are not turning out as I expected, are now maybe becoming a little bit more threatening, or becoming a little bit more of a problem, like a terrible diet choice that has been in effect for a long time now, perhaps really negatively impacting the body, not just in aesthetic sense now, but perhaps even in health sense. So we start to see in Scorpio season of 2022 actual negative impacts of maybe like a long-running kind of, again, mediocre is the word coming to my mind, but that's really not the right word. It's not just mediocre. It's like really a long-running kind of just negative reliance or dependence, or also the choice to have that stability, or to have that maintained rigid routine as a coping mechanism, or as a stronghold in your life to offset other areas of volatility, becomes very difficult here. So we have the 8 of Swords, the 10 of Wands, and the 7 of Cups coming up in your reading. 3 of the most symbolic cards of the year, 21 and 22. So we really do need to start seeing very soon a transcendence of those. So it's important to understand what that's going to look like in action here, especially by the time you come through like the November 8th eclipse. Okay, when we have that North Node in Taurus eclipse point, you have to really understand the way that you're taking things off of your plate, or the way that you're making things more sustainable for yourself. Because here you really start to see some of the collateral damage or you start to see some of the true negative outcomes of being too overburdened. Okay. So November is going to be kind of like maybe the last part of that overburdening, or the because with these eclipses coming through, we should really see a change in paradigm, for better or worse. Nonetheless, the Ten of Wands, especially, and even the Devil card, is a very sustained feeling, as those have been collective archetypes for honestly since like the end of 2019. So as we move through November, for Scorpios, there should really be a big change coming in any area of your life that you feel connects you to those energy points. On the positive side, Scorpios, in November, you have turned some type of clarity of mind or some type of mental sharpness into an art form. So academic goals, or even writing, in anything that's like puzzle solving, putting together a lot of different components and creating a result, is really brilliant for you. The Devil and the High Priestess card coming up is showing you to actually solve a problem here. Those two cards together mean problem solving with spiritual relevance. So the Devil card is like a negative, difficult connecting point in your life. So you're connected to something that you don't really necessarily want to be connected to anymore. But the High Priestess coming in alongside the Eight of Cups is very positive, with the Knight of Wands as well, for creative solutions and for basically like karmically walking out of some of these negative connections in your life. And also it seems that like a season of your life is changing here. So of course we have the fall season coming in November here in the northern hemisphere, spring in the southern. Try to understand also how like there's more than just an annual season changing here. There's maybe like a 7-year season changing here, quarter returns of Saturn. I will remind you all that Saturn is 4 signs ahead of when it was in your sign in 2014 and 15, okay? So there is a quarter return happening, which does indicate also, with the sun reactivating that square, that quarter return this month. That indicates that you are having like a 7-year change and a cellular regeneration here as well, which will be more than just a body change, but it will also be like a paradigm change. So that should be expected. So Scorpios, this is the best thing that I can tell you in this entire reading. Those changes that you feel deep within, those things you're seeing for yourself now, okay, that you didn't see for yourself before, and even the way that what you saw for yourself before conflicts with what you see for yourself now, that is basically elevating here to a new type of way forward, a new path forward. So it feels to me that over the last 2 years, since like 2020, you had to maybe buckle down and contribute to what was tried, true, and working. But as you move into the year of 2023, because this is Scorpio season, so I'm going to talk a little bit for you about your not just your year ahead, because I'll make a devoted video for that come December. But it's your season and your solar return. The next year of your life, to me, as we end this Saturn quarter return and we move into Saturn in Pisces in 2023, so that 7-year cycle is going to be over. I think that you have to really see a material movement towards what you want and start to get this stuff out of your head and into reality. Because I'm kind of seeing you guys, and I honestly hope this doesn't resonate for you, and if it doesn't, that's great. I've seen a lot of Scorpios been really trapped in their head lately, and like kind of creating their own headspace as their own retreat from like the truth of their experience, which is widespread with Jupiter in Pisces, which is also a great thing for you this month. Jupiter moving back to trine you, especially if you're a later Scorpio. Very protective, very lucky, very solution-oriented, very connective to your dreams. However, it's very easy to get caught in those dreams or to get caught in those new ideas and feel that as like a safe haven or safe sanctuary, which is genius in a way. Because we're also in a collective period of time, with the Saturn-Uranus square, with this Pluto return happening in the US, where it's like, honestly, sometimes being in the wings is better than even being like up involved in all that stuff. So I do think it's genius for those of you who are kind of retaining your own autonomy or staying safe in something that's worked for a while until the path gets clearer. But I do feel the path is getting clearer soon, so you want to kind of be prepared for that, and you want to also like there's like deep questions happening here, and this is going to happen. I'm getting major chills. This isn't just November. This is like moving into 2023 for you as well, and like the next year of your life. It's gonna really question you very directly about do you take some of this stuff that you feel inside and put it in front of other people in the real world, or do you just kind of like hold it as like your own personal treasure? That's going to be a big question for you coming up over this next year, because Saturn in Pisces will also trine you, and it's going to create this kind of like question of privacy and this question of karma for you, and the way that your internal world is generating karma versus your external connection is generating karma. That the way that that kind of pulls further and further apart is a question, and you have to really consider that moving forward. And this Scorpio season in 2022 is going to not let things that aren't right for you be easy. Okay, there's something hard about the month of November. I've got to be honest with you all, especially if there's a big disconnect between the internal and the external, or a big question there. I mean, you've got a huge amount of energy, you've got a huge amount of momentum, you are changing seasons in your life, which is a powerful place for a Scorpio to be. Those transformations are always powerful. But it is important that you don't dishonor the truths that you're coming to inside by like not letting them flourish or not letting them come through. Eventually, this sort of like spiritual marination phase, okay, the devil and the high priestess and the Seven of Cups as well, Eight of Cups, this sort of this marinating, this holding things back, eventually there's got to be an introduction or like an actual bringing out of that energy. So it's just food for thought for you all. And I'm not saying that that's right now. That's going to be different for everybody. But it's like, what's the next part of the sequence for Scorpios? Because I feel like a lot of you have been there for a long time, and we don't want things to go bad in that marination phase. For those of you who that resonates for, you'll understand. And if that's not resonating, it's too much, too deep. Like, don't worry that much about it. But let's talk about your week-to-week Scorpios. Okay, in the first week of November, you have the Knight of Wands rooted down by the Eight of Cups. Okay, so there is creativity contingent on moving another direction. Oh my gosh, Scorpios. I mean, I feel that so strongly as a Scorpio a lot of the time too. And it's like Scorpio's getting this very kind of like, I don't know, innovative, almost like radical feeling where it's like jumping the opposite direction of the typical conventional thing, even the conventional thing for Scorpios, which is, quite transformative in nature. Anyway, so it's almost like a mind warp, it's like moving away from the convention for Scorpio, which is transformative, which has you like moving towards convention. I don't know. Anyway, but I do feel like it's kind of mixed up for a lot of Scorpios, where it's like, I know I need to move away from something, but I can't quite understand which it is. You're going to figure that out in the first week of November. Also, there's going to be a huge dose of creativity coming in. So any creative projects you have coming on, I mean, I just love that for you in your season, Knight of Wands and the Eight of Cups. That's where Scorpio shines, is in those like creative exits. Okay. You could be like storming out something in the first week of November, which, might be hard for other people. But I feel you to be very stylish, a very Phoenixian energy there as well. Fire element, fire and water coming together in the first week. What do you need to walk out of? What do you need to say goodbye to? What do you need to storm out of? Okay, is a big question for you. I've been feeling a lot of clarity as a Scorpio about like things that I know that aren't good, or things that I know that aren't good for me. And I've been noticing, like, leading up to Scorpio season over this entire year of 2022, that even though I know that, even though it's clear, at the same time, I don't actually move away from it sometimes. And I think that maybe that's changing in the first week, where it's like you're gone from the stuff that isn't good for you. And then that could also be a bigger thing for your oncoming year. Week number 2, the devil rooted down by the high priestess. Powerful week. 2. You need to get stuff done there, and you need to not like procrastinate. Okay. I think that any of the difficulty that you might see in week 3 or week 4 is a result of procrastination. I think it's a result of feeling entrapped by something you're not entrapped by. And I think it's really important that you start studying your experience and understanding, okay, maybe I'm not as trapped as I think I am. Any what do I want to say, doctrines of entrapment or ideologies of entrapment, any type of self-affirmation like, I can't leave this, I can't not have this paycheck, meaning that you're essentially owned by your employer. I can't not have this specific living location, meaning that you're essentially owned by your geographic location. I can't not have this relationship, meaning you're essentially owned by your partnership, by your partner. I'm not saying you need to walk away from those or question those. Again, that depends on the person, the individual. But do take a look at self-affirming tendencies that have you like owned by another person or entity, because that is very probable in the second week, and that is the entrapment, not the person or not the actual other party. Okay, it's the mindset in you. Okay, so we have to really liberate ourselves there. Week number 3, 8 of Swords, we're down by 2 of Swords, 2 of the most non-liberated cards in the tarot. So we have major entrapment, we have major self-restriction. Okay, and that's very evocative of the Saturn quarter return, and that's wrapping up here. So we also have that eclipse, remember, in the second week on the 8th of November. Crazy day for an eclipse, right? Third week, though, yeah. You've come through both of the eclipses, and at least you know it for what it is now, or you know... Because what's great about 8 of Swords and 2 of Swords is they're not, like, really entrapment, okay? They're both, like, self-entrapped. They're both blindfolded, so there's this... we gotta, and even like my background that I didn't even realize had that eye on it. So we have like the open eye there, and then we have these blindfolded cards coming up. We've got to take the blindfold off, Scorpio, and we got to look at the way things are. And we got to not be holding ourselves in confinement, okay? Very important. And because again, 2 of Swords and 8 of Swords, neither of those are strict confinements, okay? Neither of those are like that bad. Like, it's actually very easy to either take down those barriers in the 2 of Swords, or to just wriggle out of that in the 8 of Swords. Okay, it's not as limiting as you think it is, some of the situations that you're in. But yeah, to bring that down to the more mundane level, you might have a schedule that's very challenging. Okay, this could also just be like too hard of a schedule. And I think that for a lot of you, that's about to end anyway, so it's fine because it's a short-term thing. But definitely take a look at your commitments, okay? Because I feel like you're working too hard, okay? With all of this coming up together, and then about to move into the 4th week, week 4, 10 of Wands, rooted down by the 7 of Cups. That's too hard, okay? And I think that you would have been feeling this for a long time if this is meaning to resonate for you. Why was a situation like this ever allowed to get this difficult? What needed to go away that you held on to? Also, 7 of Cups has been... I've been feeling that card really strong ever since like September. It's been the most prevalent archetype that I've been seeing in meditation. Before that, it was 10 of Wands. Okay, so the fact that both of those have come up together, I mean, it's your season, you're the collective actor right now, so that makes sense because those are the 2 strongest archetypes of the tarot and the collective, in my opinion, right now. So we have overworking for some type of cause that's outside of ourselves, working for all that money to save up for something in the future, something that's not here and not applicable now. There's a bit of a flaw to that, isn't there? If you really think about it, like, and I'm one of those people, so like I'm talking about myself, like I am always wanting to prepare for the future. Like I'm a super, like I want a safe and secure future. But I see with those cards together how that can also be like a major detriment and a major debilitation, because it has to be balanced, because if we're working for something that's not now and that's all that we're doing, we're sacrificing ourselves for something that doesn't exist. And that's something that you need to really think about in the fourth week, Scorpio. Sacrificing oneself for something that is not here. And, yeah, a lot of people get really powerful with that. But it's kind of a gamble. And I think you've had enough of that for now. And moving into 2023, we are needing to see that either... Ooh, it's actually the same on both sides of it. So it's not like either or. It's like, okay, it just has to become the present. So either we are moving towards that which we are thinking of and making that real, or we're accepting what is here, which is like the same thing, okay? It's not an either or situation. I hope you guys understand that. We need to stop distinguishing that which we want for ourselves into crossroads that we don't have to. So it's kind of like it's a mind maze this month, Scorpios, and a lot of it is just you and you. It's not really about other people for you this month. It's more about like your own time management, your own choice of commitments, your own rationality as well about what or where you have to be, what you have to be doing based on like employer, location, stuff like that, which are very, very real things, for most of us in the world at least. But I feel for you that you have a lot more power also with the Jupiter trine coming back in this month and the Pluto sextile also building back up. Like, it's just one of those like lucky phases in all Scorpios' lives where actually those things like the employer, the spouse, the parent, the family, the location, whatever it is, actually doesn't have the power over you that you think it does, and it's probably like the other way around. So here's like a really wonderful time to like create a life that you love, okay? And moving forward for the rest of your year, Scorpios, you really deserve it. Anyway, let's talk more about that in your extended reading, Scorpios. I'm going to talk about creating a life that you love. Could write a whole book on that. But also, I hope you get the chance to share this with another Scorpio, this YouTube reading. Hit that thumbs up button below. And in your extended reading, I'm going to do a central theme, 2 supporting themes, and a significator card. And we'll talk more over on Patreon. What a great value the Patreon page is at this time of the year. Anyway, I hope you all have a beautiful season. I've really enjoyed doing this reading with you all. Much love. Bye.